Boas, aqui já cá está.
Boa tarde, Afonso.
Olá, Ivan.
Olá, Afonso. Boa tarde.
Olá, boa tarde.
Ana, viva, tudo bem?
Tudo bem?
Boa tarde.
Eu não vos vejo. Tá, mas podes tirar uma coisa. Sim. Porque depois se ver as pessoas a entrar, não é?
Estão todos bem?
Todos inteiros.
Tudo ótimo.
Olá, Ivone, tudo bem?
Tudo.
Vamos lá ver se o Tristan não se esquece de nós.
Não faz mal, senão nós fazemos a festa.
Sempre a possibilidade, mas espero que tenham aí uma coreografia boa. A Sofia. A Sofia, estás boa?
Olá!
Estás boa, está tudo bem? Então,
Bom, e vocês?
nós cá estamos, na maravilha.
Tem que ser!
Isso.
Tem que ser! Ah, esse fulano é fantástico.
O Tristan
É
animado.
é o que a malta precisa.
Exatamente. Vamos lá ver.
Adrenalinazinha.
Obrigada a todos, obrigada pelo convite.
Nada, muito bem-vinda.
Obrigada.
Vamos lá ver.
Tarde a todos.
Presumo, aquilo lá ainda isto são 8 horas de diferença, portanto ele deve estar a acabar o workout ou a coisa.
Está a escolher o boné. Está a escolher o boné de hoje.
Exatamente, também pode ser.
Olá, Afonso, boa tarde. Boa tarde.
Olá, Cristina, tudo bem? Viva.
Olá, boa tarde.
Pois. Olá, Teresa, estás boa?
Tudo bem?
Isto agora é um momento bom que ainda se vai vendo a cara de toda a gente, a cara ou pelo menos, digamos, o quadradinho respectivo. Para mais um bocadinho. Eu espero que alguém saiba cantar, se ele não vier. Está bem? Eu não sei. Quer dizer, eu sei.
A Sandra,
Sandra canta.
Eu.
canta o fado.
Então, Sofia, como é que vão aí as coisas aí pelo longitude oeste? Tudo bem?
Muitos
Andar.
desafios, mas tudo a andar. Tudo a andar. Eu acho que os clientes andam todos assim um bocadinho variados, mas tudo a rolar.
Lembra-te de há 2 anos atrás e pensa se isso que disseste agora não seria aplicável.
Seria também. Seria também. Seria também. Agora é um bocadinho mais complicado algumas coisas, mas tudo se faz. Tudo se faz. Precisamos de mais produto. É o que eu ando sempre a dizer.
A falta de produto.
Nós temos.
O que é?
Nós temos, se tu quiseres. Não.
Há muita falta, principalmente para os buyers. Tem que andar sempre a pedir. Mas enfim.
Olá, boa tarde.
Olá.
Fala, Paula.
Olá, Paulinha.
Olá, Rita.
Olá,
Boa.
tudo bem? Boa tarde. Eu estou aqui a ver onde é que a câmera aparece, que isto é um novo.
Só mandar aqui uma. Acabei de mandar aqui um pequeno reminder.
Ao senhor?
Ao próprio. O que é que se está a rir?
Eu, peraí. Oi?
He's in.
Diz?
Já chegou. Já chegou.
Não? Como é que ele está?
Tá. Tristan aí.
Tristan,
Good morning. How are you?
good morning. How are you?
Good. Well, it's good morning over here. What time is it over there?
Well, it's 8 hours ahead of you. It's
Nice.
4 o'clock.
Oh, 4. Nice.
Yeah.
So it's afternoon.
Don't worry. The world will survive for an extra 8 hours.
I love it.
Don't worry about that.
I love that. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us today from your busy schedule over there. I realize this is Tristan. One of our agents, actually, Rita, which is here, attended to a lab coach agent session, which is everybody probably knows that. And she asked, she said that we were very sad in Portugal with the pandemics things and all that stuff. And Tristan just, was available to share with us some of his perspectives and on one topic was he's very fond of, which is the right mindset. I don't know if probably most of you know Tristan. I wonder if anybody doesn't. Tristan is that guy when he goes to Rome and there's a guy in white there. Who's the guy in white next to Tristan? So
You're funny, Afonso.
More or less like that. So it's 9,000 kilometers away. It's 8 hours ahead. And for those who don't know, Tristan is a very successful real estate agent in the US. He operates in the Los Angeles area. He's the founder and CEO of Lab Coats Agents, which is the largest real estate Facebook group all over the world. I think it's 80,000 followers right now, isn't it, Tristan?
Well, just in the Facebook group, we have 135,000. And then with everything else, we've got like 400,000 altogether.
Yeah, well, geez. And he operates, he's also operating with a KW in the West Village area, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm in charge I'm the director of communications for 8,000 agents in the Los Angeles, Ventura County area too.
That's great. And Tristan has built this very, very successful business for the last, maybe 12 to 13 years, right?
Yeah.
And
right.
it surpassed 100 million in production a long time ago. So, and he sustained that and grew that. And he's mostly also very passionate for innovative models, for innovation at all times. passionate for technology and the way it can maximize lead generation, lead conversion. And he's been doing, who is following Lab Coats Agent session knows about that. I mean, and so this is a great opportunity for us. Thank you again for being us today, Tristan, and to share. Well, the teaser is the right mindset. We've all had tough times lately, especially, I don't know, since 1 year ago, you know, the pandemic's knocked us with a big surprise.
Yeah.
And well, this changed the world, the way that the world acts, interacts, that we relate to each other, we communicate to each other. So it's up to you now, Tristan. Please share with us.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll start off with a couple of stories first. First, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I think it was, I don't know if it was Rita Marino Lorenzo. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Rita connected me.
Yes.
So.
Hi, Tristan. How are you?
Rita, how are you? So thanks for reaching out. That was very kind.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Okay.
Thanks for
next time you come for real. You travel to Lisbon. That
would be nice.
We'll be waiting for you.
Everybody's almost ready, so we're good.
Yes, almost. We're on the countdown.
So thank you for having me. I'm also speaking at Family Reunion for Portugal. I'm going to be talking about your social media presence and then lead generation. So this is why I'm talking about mindset today. And I'll start with one story. I was talking to Gary Keller last week on Friday, and we talked in the morning for like 2 hours. And his main question for me was Tristan, what's your vision for Lab Coat Agents? Because it's so big. He's like, I said, well, I don't know. Let's talk. We talk about every 2 weeks. And he sent me something. He sent me, you know what, let me show you what he sent me. He said, this is what you have to, I wasn't planning on showing you this, but it's really good. He sent me this by text. And he said, this is Lab Coat Agents. He goes, this is how I see Keller Williams. And this was Walt Disney's original drawing back in 1957, where he had to create in his mind what Disney or Disneyland would look like. And a lot of the times when we sit down and think of our business in a similar fashion, right? We can't think of it. We can't think of it because all these thoughts start crawling into our head. They're like, you know, that's not for me. That's too big. I don't want to be that big. Or I just can't do that. That's not the world that I live in. That's not for me. I don't do things that way. Or, you know, that's not going to work here. And I hear that a lot because we get to talk to a lot of different agents. I get to talk to a lot of different companies. I also consult companies, and sometimes I hear that. They're like, oh, that's not for us. And that's where we have to take a step back and think and say, well, there's the right mindset, a way of thinking that can either help you grow or help you stay where you're at. There's research done that we have up to about 80,000 thoughts in one day. 80,000 thoughts in a day, that's a lot of thoughts. The thing is, most of us have the same thoughts we had the day before and the week before and the year before, because we're not exposing ourselves to amazing people, to new things or new ways of doing things because we're scared. And so that was right there. That was Gary Keller challenging me and saying, hey, Tristan, you're not thinking big enough, right? And so now I'm telling you because I see it, you're not thinking big enough. You just aren't. I can guarantee you that you are not thinking big enough. And it comes down to the way that you talk to yourself daily. And like I said, the challenge is this, and I'm going to start off here. We've got to change the way that we talk to ourselves. The conversations that we have with ourselves daily in our heads, we're telling ourselves stupid things like, you're stupid. Oh, that was stupid. Like I told you before, I can't take this anymore. This is too much. And that energy that we have that's happening inside here, other people can feel that. Your family, your friends, your customers. That doubt that you have, that's contagious. That's a challenge because everything that goes out from what we do comes from inside of us. So you have to create your life from the inside out. And that becomes a challenge because we have to change our language. We have to change the way that we talk to ourselves on a daily basis. But some of us aren't even aware that we do that. The fact that we're talking about this right now can start making you aware of the way that you're talking to yourself, the thoughts that you have. So as I started, I actually created this whole process that we're going to go through. And you're not going to find it anywhere else because I created it from scratch. And I'll send it over to you in the chat box so you guys can download it and use it. And when I went through this process, I identified a few things about myself that I wasn't happy with. I was like, whoa, I didn't realize that I had envy. And when I mean, look at me, I'm 43 years old now, all right? And like in my late 30s, I'm realizing that one of my biggest challenges was envy. And I was like, wow, and it was in my face and it was difficult because I had to come to reality and say, okay, this is a problem I have. How can I fix it? How do I grow from this? Because I don't want that holding me back. And so I'm sharing that with you because I don't know if you've heard of the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. I'll type it into the chat so you can see it here. Carol Dweck. Just Google her name. The book is called Mindset. She's the leading researcher when it comes to researching the mind, the psychology of thinking positively. And she's done a ton of research and a lot of books out there refer back to her. So she's got this thing called fixed mindset. Your mindset that's fixed. You look at the world in a way that says, oh, you know what? It is the way it is. I can't change it. I was born this way. I'm done. You avoid challenges. You give up easily. And you feel threatened by the success of others. She says, most of us have some of that. Some of us have more fixed mindset, but most of us struggle with that. And it's true. Now she says, what you want to aspire to be like is a growth mindset. And that growth mindset, that's where you start looking at challenges and you're like, okay, maybe I need to change the way I'm approaching this. You embrace challenges. You look forward to them and you know that anything that goes wrong is only a step towards getting things right or doing things better. But to me, the biggest difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset is when you see somebody succeeding out there, somebody doing amazing, a friend, a colleague, a family member, anybody, instead of saying, wow, that person didn't deserve it in your head, or wow, I can't believe that person got it, or, well, that's weird. Oh, I could never do that. You look to them for inspiration. You look at them and what they've achieved motivates you to do better. And that's the key. We look at these amazing things that are happening and we take the opportunity to use it to motivate us. And if you're at the highest point on a growth mindset, you're probably going to pick up the phone and you're going to text them and you're going to be like, hey, congratulations. Can you tell me what you did? Because you've motivated me. And I think I can do something similar. There's no ego. And that's the biggest difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. One allows us to continue to grow. So there are a couple of things before I show you the process to get your mind right. But the next thing that comes to mind here is surrounding yourself with people that lift you up. And I mean, the world that we live in, it doesn't have to be somebody that's in our room or with us all the time. It could be audiobooks. It could be podcasts. It could be webinars. It could be like we're having a meeting right now. Choosing who you surround yourself with in person and virtually is extremely important. And the things that you watch. I mean, I don't know if you've had this conversation with anybody, but do you think some of the most successful people out there in their minds, right? Successful people in their minds, successful people throughout different parts of what you call success. It's not just financial. It could be family success, physically successful, mentally, emotionally, right? Financially successful. Do you think these people spend their whole day or hours at a time binge watching Netflix? Think of what you're putting in your mind on a daily basis, because what you consume and who you hang around with is how you eventually think. But nobody puts it that way to you. The moment I realized that is when I was much younger. It was 2007 and 2007-ish. In the United States, the market had tanked. And I went from I was a solo agent. I was making $500,000 a year. And I went from making $500,000 to $40,000 in like a year. And that was a dramatic difference in my lifestyle. And I had a lot of anxiety. And I was, at the time I was, what was that, 2007? I think I was like mid-20s, 26, 27, around there, maybe 28. And then I started playing a lot of video games. I started watching a lot of TV. And I was like, let's just see what the world's bringing on. Let's take some time to relax. And I got into this rhythm that was not good for my mind. And I started getting a lot of anxiety. And then I got sick badly. And to break out of it, I had to realize that guess what the problem was? It was me. The problem is always you. There's always an excuse. My excuse was that the world was falling apart and that I couldn't find a way out. That was my excuse. And so that's when I realized, okay, I've got to change this because I don't want this to ever happen to me again. And that was my journey to changing my mind, to changing how I function. Because to me, that was pretty bad. And so I thought, okay, let's start by surrounding myself with better books. Let's read more, right? Because when I graduated from college, I graduated with a history degree. I went into law school, right? So I love reading. I had just stopped reading. So I was reading better books that I could learn from it. You know what? I'll side note. I talked to the guy that created Instagram a while back. What's his name? I forgot his name. I think it's Kevin Systrom, but I don't remember his name exactly. He told me one thing. He said, Tristan, when I want to learn something, I don't just read one book about it. I pick the top 5 books on that topic, the top 5 books, right? I ask my friends, I go on Amazon, I look around, I find the top 5 books on that one topic, and I start reading them. He goes, by the end, by that 5th book, because it's the same topic over and over and over and over again, I learned so much about that one specific topic, more than I would have if I just read that one book. Anyways, that's topic stacking that I learned from the CEO of Instagram. So side note on that. All right, books, audiobooks, podcasts, articles, webinars, and YouTube. I mean, look at YouTube, it's free. You can learn so much on YouTube. And I'm not saying not to have fun, because look, I have 2 kids, 14 and 10. They turned 10 yesterday. And I play Minecraft. I play Minecraft with my kids, right? My son grabs me and goes, let's go play Minecraft. And then I sit down and I do other things. But, you know, it's with my family. I do 2 things. I work and I'm with my family. That's it. I don't have time for anything else. That's what I've dedicated my life to. But that's my choice, right? So there's a lot of places you can go to. And then lastly, and then we'll get into this whole process that I created to get you into this right mindset, is practicing doing things that are uncomfortable for you. So often we just get caught up doing the same thing. It's like, oh, today I'm just going to call up the same people and prospect in the same way and hope that something amazing happens, right? The secret to our business and to continually improving is to continually feel uncomfortable. The more you know that you're not sure what the hell's going to happen next, that's how you know you're doing something right. That's the secret. The secret is getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. You talk to some of the most amazing people out there that are setting the standards for our world. They don't know what they're doing next because they're setting the standard for us. Think of the people that created all the latest technology out there. They didn't even know what they were creating and how they were going to create it. They live in a world of uncertainty. And that's what you need to start getting comfortable with. How do you start getting comfortable with that? You start doing things that are new for you in your business. This is why I'm always testing out the latest technology, right? This is why I'm always diving deeper into Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, testing out everything that's being created. I'm like, can that fit into my world? Let's test it out. So that's what you have to continually do. Because the one thing that I can guarantee you, besides we're all going to die, is that change is going to happen. Change is always happening around us. You just have to get comfortable with it. Look what happened during COVID. You had 2 sets of people. You had the people that couldn't believe that COVID had hit and the whole world was going to die. And then you had the other people who said, we got this. Let's do this. I don't know what the hell's happening, but let's do this. Let's make something happen. Those are the 2 sets of people. And when COVID hit the United States, for me, it was March 13th. That's when I realized, oh, wow, this is serious, right? Because they canceled all of the professional sports that day. I was like, oh, crap, what happened? So that became serious for me. And the first thing I did is I went through my phone and I texted every best-selling author that I know and every CEO and executive that I know. And I said, do you have 5 minutes to talk? So I texted Gary, I texted so in our world where we're at, we have Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, we have Century 21, we have Keller Williams, we have EXP, we have Compass, all these companies. And then I texted all the CEOs there. Then I texted Facebook, the friends that I have at Facebook, the executives. Then I texted all of the other tech companies out here. Then I texted the best-selling authors, right? The E-Myth Revisited guy, Michael Gerber. If you want to look at him, he's awesome. He's just really old, but he's awesome. And they all said, yeah, call me. All of them, because they were all like, what the hell's happening too? And the one thing that they all said to me, like it was unanimous. They said, yeah, we don't know what's happening, but we're going to figure this out together. So they accepted that they are living in a world of uncertainty and that they were going to get a plan together and that they needed to bring everybody closer together in their world. So that day, I said, you know what? Our world in real estate needs to come together. And I reached out to the whole team and I said, every day we're going to do a webinar from now on, every single day, everybody. And we're going to help everybody out. And that's when it started for us. So I took action. So I need you to get comfortable with uncertainty, because the one thing that I can tell you right now is that something's going to happen in your world and your mind's not going to be ready for it. And you're going to react in a negative way. And that's the last thing you want to do, because the beautiful part of life is that the most amazing opportunities come out of things that you didn't expect. And it's up to you to see it that way. All right. Let me open up a couple of documents here. Here we go. Got this one. All right. So I created this a few years back, and let me open it. You know, I'm also going to copy this and I'm going to send it over to you first. Let me grab it. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to share it on my screen now. All right, there we go. And I'm going to send it over in the chat really quick. All right, there we go. So you can open it up with you there. I'm going to start in the evening. And I created this about 2.5 years ago. I call this Prepare to Marvel. And it's a process that I created in collaboration with a whole bunch of other amazing people, because I tested it out with them to get me going. This was just for me, to get me going in the right direction mentally so that I can be prepared to be a better leader. And I call it Prepare to Marvel because you can see the acronym PREPARE, and then in the morning it's Marvel. It's not called Marvel Comics, even though that's kind of cool. I like Marvel, right? Spider-Man and Superman, not Superman, but the X-Men. Okay, let's go. I'm going to show you exactly what I do here. There's 2 options for everyone, okay? There's 2 options for the evening and there's 2 options for the morning. And I put 2 options because we don't always have time to sit down and go deep into this. So what I did here is I created this for me. If I only have 15 minutes, you see right here, it says 15 minutes. If I have only 15 minutes to do this in the evening, because I feel like your day starts the night before, that's when your day starts, then I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can to get it done. If I have more time, then I go into the questions underneath, okay? So let's start with plan for tomorrow. This is easy. If you're not doing this, please, this is the only thing I ask you to do that one. Because you talk to leaders all across the United States, and I can guarantee you that most of them know what they're going to do tomorrow. They have it imprinted in their minds, and they know what the priorities are. So I need you to, at night, plan for the next day. What does your day look like? I have a written calendar. I like to write everything out on my written calendar. And it's here, I'll unshare so I can show you. This is what my written calendar, it's a little calendar. And then I have everything written out, right? I don't know if it's blurry or not, but that's what it is. Every day I write it out the night before. And typically on Sundays, I write out the whole week. My team, because I have three businesses that I run. My team for all three, they run my digital calendar. So everything is in digital, but I hardly ever look at it. I look specifically at my calendar that's written, and there's a reason for it for me. When I write it out, it makes it more real to me and I remember it. So this is why I plan here for tomorrow. Pretty easy, right? Next one is review what happened today. So once the day is done, look through the day to see what notes you put there, who you were supposed to call back, any ideas that you had, anything like that that you miss. And what I find is because the day goes by so fast, there are some conversations and meetings that I forget to put in, or something I forgot to do today that I'm going to push for the next day. Right? Again, that part is pretty easy. Review what happened today. Next is exercise. Now I put 1 minute there. This is not where I exercise for my full 30 minutes or 45 minutes. This is exercise where I sit down and I jump in and do exercise. Let me explain to you the psychology behind this. Tony Robbins says motion creates emotion. And he's right. They're tied together. Physically, you're tied to your mind, right? Because we release endorphins and it makes us feel good. And so right here, this is in the evening now, okay? I jump down and I do 50 push-ups, 40 push-ups, whatever you can do. You can do jumping jacks. You can do anything you want. You could punch the air if you want. But the point is, it gets my mind and body connected, and all of a sudden I feel great. And it's really quick. That's the point of that. This is not a full-on exercise. You have that at a separate time. Next, P for play, watch, listen, relax. Unfortunately, the business that we're in for real estate, it's like go, 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 go. And not all the times do we actually have the time to take the time to say, okay, now is the time for playing. Now is the time for relaxing. And this time, look, if you only have 4 minutes here, if you've only got a few minutes, and do yourself a favor, and if you play on your phone, grab your phone and play a game. If you play with your kids, grab a kid and play. If you want to read an excerpt of something that's fun, read it. Take time to enjoy that moment as the evening comes, because it sets the mind for like, okay, got it. I'm done with work. Let's get into that next phase. You know, we don't, because the business that we have, most of the people here, we have our business that's mixed with our personal life. And the challenge is we don't know where that work stops because we take that work home. This allows you to wind down so that you know, okay, it's time to do this, because the next thing I have are affirmations. And the affirmations that I have here, here's one that I have. I'm going to unshare this really quick so I can find it, because I like it. I call this the evening. Here we go. This is the evening encouragement. And it's pretty easy for me. You read it here. It says, tonight I take a deep breath. I embrace the evening. I've done well today. I'm thankful for my life. I'm aware of my power. I'm strong. I'm brave. I'm kind. I'm love. I forgive it all tonight. I let things go that hurt me. So often we go to sleep and things are still making us angry at night, right? My mind is at peace. I'm here tonight. I have unlimited love. I embrace all challenges. I have control over my reactions. I have all that I need at this moment. Tonight, I'm grateful. And then at the bottom, tonight, I'm calm. I set the tone for my life and those around me. I embrace who I am and I love it. So that's the evening part of it. That's the one I read, but let's go back to, here, let me open it up. Again, let's go back to affirmations so I can end it up and the evening for you. Here, affirmations, you can read that really quick. It can be a minute. It can be a little longer. Sometimes I only have a minute. And okay, so this one, R, this for me, has been the one that has changed the way I think over the last few years. Because at the end of the day, we don't take time to reflect on our actions. We don't ever take time to reflect on how we treated people, how we treated our clients, how we treated our family, how we treated anybody. And this is our opportunity right now, right here. When we reflect back, at the end of the day, you close your eyes or you don't, but you think back and you say, was there a moment in the day where I shouldn't have said what I said, or I shouldn't have done what I did? And when you identify that, you ask yourself, how can I do better next time? And what starts happening here over the process of 30, 40, 50 days is you start becoming aware of those moments. Now, here, I'll share an example with you. During the whole COVID thing that we had at the very beginning of it, we were doing a lot of webinars. Sometimes we were doing 6 or 7 in a day. And one time I had my son come up to me and he wanted to play in the middle of the webinar. And I wasn't very nice to him, right? I didn't yell at him. I said, no, right? The little kids, sometimes they jump in front, right? And at the end of the day, I reflected and I felt pretty terrible, but I changed that. I didn't realize that I had done that, but I took time to reflect at the end of the day and I changed that action. So now my son comes in, I'm like, hey, come on over here, right? And bring him on. I've got some feedback on somebody's mic. Here we go. So the reflection time, I've also used it for my wife, like, because I can go back to the day, and in one of the questions that I'll show you, you can go back in the day and think, oh, you know, it could be your husband, it could be your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And you can say, oh, you know, I probably didn't treat my wife the way that I wanted to. There was one moment when she asked something and I sounded frustrated, right? And so because I reflect on this is my favorite moment of the evening when I reflect back. I know exactly what I said and how I said it to my wife. So I ask my wife sometimes, I'm like, honey, was there some part in the day where you felt like I wasn't as kind? And obviously my wife says, yes, I know exactly where it was, and blah, 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 blah. And then I feel like crap more. But the point is I reflect on it and I try to change it. So now she's a lot kinder. She's like, yes, you did this. I go, all right, that wasn't very nice, right? You know what, at that time, this is what I was feeling, right? And it's not against you or anything. It's because inside I was feeling this. Let's work on that feeling. What happens is this awareness process changes how you think, right? And look, at the end of the day, all we want to do is just make ourselves a better version of ourselves, right? That's all we want. And then the last one, you embrace the night. You actually fully embrace it. You're like, guess what? It's night. I'm not going to do anything else. I've done all I can today. It's time to shut down. Because if you don't recharge, if you don't take time for yourself and your family, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out and you're going to hate the business. You're going to hate doing the things that you do. All right, well, let's go through the evening questions. If you have some time, then I go into these. I have any checklist items that I put in here, like anything that's personal for me, I put it in there. Now, here's where I start asking the questions. And one of these questions is a hard one for me and my family. But here, best one is, are you pleased with the way you lived your life? Yes or no? Easy. Because if you say no, you're going to ask why. Why are you not pleased with the way you live your life? And if you say yes, it says why. What happens here, when you answer the question, you start identifying what the most important things are in your life that dictate how your day is. Because if you start answering no, my day wasn't good. Why? I didn't spend enough time with my family. And you see that as a trend, guess what's a priority in your life that you need to pay attention to? Right? There you go. Now, if you say yes and you say why, it's the same thing. Next one. What's one situation I handled well today, and what did I learn from it? All right, you go back in the day and you think, well, there was this one situation where somebody came out of nowhere and they needed help and I was there for them, or whatever it is. The point is you reflect back. You start reflecting back here. This section right here is to reflect back. It makes you more aware of your actions throughout the day. Now, this one's the most difficult one for me, all right? Right here. And this is how I discovered that I have a slight problem with envy. Were any of my actions guided by any strong emotions? Anger, hate, sadness, selfishness, pride, envy, anything like that? And I don't think that we take the time to reflect on that on a daily basis in the evening. If we're real with ourselves, this is where we start working on our minds. This is where we start working on our emotions, on who we really are. Because I've seen some amazing, talented people destroy their business opportunities because they can't get a grip on their emotions. This is where you take time to say, okay, Tristan, what am I dealing with today? Were any of my actions today, did I respond to somebody in a mean way because I had envy? Or maybe I had too much pride? This is where you get real with yourself. Next one, I twisted a little bit just to bring you back. Were any of my actions guided by any powerful emotions like happiness, kindness, gratefulness, selflessness? This one's a lot easier for me. I'm like, yeah, I was kind. Boop, done, right? All right, next one. Was I a good example to those around me today? Every time I read this one, I hear my grandma talking to me, right? Every time, right? My grandma telling me, were you a good example today? Did you do okay in school? Were you nice to everybody? Right? This is in essence bringing you back to the basics. Who in your world is asking you on a daily basis, hey, were you a good example today? Were you good to the people around you? Because you share this world with everybody else. And that's a very important question that we should be asking ourselves. I ask my kids when they come back from school, I don't say, how'd you do in school today? I say, hey, were you a good example today in school? That's my first question to them. Because it's that important to me. Because who we are to other people is who we are. And so that, to me, that's one of the most important questions you can ask yourself on a daily basis. Now, let me go back here. Can everybody see the right screen where I have the questions? Just to make sure. Give me a thumbs up. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Last two questions. Was I aware of other people's emotions today? Ooh, this is a good one. And even on Zoom calls or in-person meetings, I'm always looking at people's faces, by the way. So I've been looking at all your faces. I know what you're doing, right? I see that you're looking to the side, on the phone, all those things. I scroll through. It's important to me. And I really need to understand where you're at, because the way that we talk with each other, the hand movements, right? The eyes, the tone, that's how we connect. And when I'm talking to my clients, it's important for me to be aware of their emotions, because one of my friends who's dead now, but he was an amazing mentor, he said to me, Tristan, you've got to listen to what people mean, not what they say. And it took me a while to fully understand that, because I was much younger. And I thought, oh, okay. And I think the closest thing I could relate it to is when I say, when I've made my wife angry and I know she's angry and I say, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm okay. Right? She's not okay. She's not okay. She's not okay. And so that's the closest thing I can relate it to. She's really not okay, but she's saying okay. So I need to hear what they really mean. And that's important right there. That's how we start connecting with people better. And last one, this can tell you a lot of where you need to be physically, mentally. Did I maintain a high level of energy today? And what can I learn from it? To me, that one was extremely important because pre-COVID, I was getting tired in the middle of the day, and I didn't realize why. My wife's a dietitian, so she tells me what to eat, but I don't listen to her. So that's why I wasn't in shape. And so I finally realized that I was down on the energy level because I wasn't eating right. So it could be something else, but this is important to be aware of. So you see, this whole process is to make you aware, because awareness is extremely important on who you are and what you become and where you're heading. This is where I start in the evening. Now I'll go through the morning really quick because I know we've only got about 15 minutes. Any questions you have, just go ahead and ask me. All right, now you're in the morning, you wake up, you've heard the Miracle Morning. Hal Elrod, you can read the book, Miracle Morning. Hal Elrod is a friend of mine. And that's actually why I started doing this. I'm like, Hal, you've got such an amazing process for the morning, but you don't have anything in the evening. So I started with the evening. And so here I just recreated the morning for me on the things that are important for me. And I typically start in the day with meditation or prayer. And what I learned over the years of meditating, so I've been meditating since I was 17. And I didn't know that it had amazing benefits at the time. I actually didn't realize it had benefits until I was in my 30s. And it was, I had joined martial arts, and it was Shotokan karate. And I had this here, I'll tell you a story really quick. I had this amazing sensei. He's Japanese. I can't understand a word he's saying. It took me like a year to understand him fully because his English wasn't the greatest, but he could kick my butt because the guy was absolutely amazing. Hardcore Japanese sensei. I went to join this dojo, and it was a hardwood floor. It wasn't carpet, first of all. And he'd carry like this bamboo stick, like if he was going to hit you if you did something wrong, but he never did. But it was always scary to me. Anyways, he would start every single class. He would have you kneel down, and he would have you close your eyes, and he would have you then focus on your breath in and breath out. And I never understood the purpose of it. It took years. And then I read something by accident that about this guy who had terrible depression, terrible anxiety. And I read, it was a whole book. I don't remember the book, but he was a newscaster. And he said, I had depression, anxiety, I was on drugs, all this stuff. And he said, the thing that cured it was, and I had terrible ADD, attention deficit disorder, was meditation. And so he explained why. He goes, every time you focus your mind on breathing in and breathing out for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you're training your mind to shut out everything else. You're training your mind to instantly focus on something, instantly, so that everything you're being distracted by goes away. And to me, it all came together when I was reading it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is why I'm able to focus instantly on anything. This is amazing. It was a gift from my parents because they sent me here, and it was a gift from my sensei for meditating. And so now that I understand what it does, I tell everybody, look, if you're not meditating and you're having problems focusing, this is the secret. Meditation. And you have some of the most amazing people out there. When they discover this, they tell you this is absolutely amazing. And so all you have to do it is for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, focus on your breath in, breath out, nothing else. You're gonna have thoughts coming in everywhere, thoughts coming in. Oh, I didn't shut off the stove. Oh, I didn't call this client. Oh, I should have. None of that matters. That's how you begin to control your mind. So that's why I start with meditation and prayer. Prayer is very similar, where you're focused on doing one thing. You have errant thoughts coming in and out, right? Focus. Next is affirmations. Again, I use affirmations to create a better version of myself. So my affirmations are there to make me who I want to become. So my affirmations are there to lift me up and to make me a better version of me. Some people use it for some differently, but that's how I use it. And I'll put, you know what? I think I have a morning mantra. Yeah, I do. All right. So this is one that I read if I don't have the time to read my affirmations. I read this really quick. And I've been reading this one since 2006. And I've changed it over the time a little bit, but it goes now, God is the voice. You don't have to put that, but that's what I put. I live to serve. I will lead, not settle. I believe, not doubt. I create, not destroy. I lift up, not bring down. I confront, not hide. I added that one because I'm always very timid. And I'm an introvert. I don't like being in crowds. So I added that one. I fail and get back up. I'm a force for good. I'm a force for God. I'm a leader. I'm a giver. I'm wealthy. I'm healthy. And you know what? I'm going to pause with you right here because this one right there, I'm wealthy. I had a problem with personally because I grew up, I'm going to stop on sharing really quick. I grew up with a family, grew up poor. My family would always tell me, specifically my dad, and my dad and my mom are great. They were great parents, but they told me they had put something in my mind that told me that rich people were not good. They would use their money to do bad things. They were always oppressing the poor. And I had that well into my 30s. And so I added that probably when I was like 36, 37. Just the fact of repeating that, I'm repeating that over, being okay with it. Because look, the reason we are where we are is just all up here, right? I had to be okay with that. And that simple one line for me has made a difference. So I just wanted to pause you on that to say the things that you tell yourself on a daily basis matter. I'm healthy. I'm a visionary. I take action. I achieve dreams. I defy the odds. I set the standard. You know, I've been saying that since 2006. And I finally set the standard for the real estate industry in the United States in 2019 and 2020. I set the standard. I set new standards and I live with passion. So I repeat these things because they work. They've worked in my life, right? Let me go back to this one. Next thing, easy. I record the previous day. I typically either do a video. I actually pull out my little phone. It's an app called Day One. And I've been using Day One since 2011. I can go back to when my son was born and I have it all there. And I usually record. I just say, hey, today, this and that happened, this and that. Or I type it in, right? Or I just take a picture. Pretty quick. Next is visualize. And let me take some water because visualization is my favorite part on this one. Give me a second. Okay. Visualization. This took a long time to figure out for me because I tried I try to treat it like a meditation because I didn't know what visualization was. So I studied different athletes on how they visualize and how they go through this process of closing their eyes and going through the processes of them exercising, them playing. And I thought I'd actually did that for a while. Like, okay, what am I doing today? Work, what do I want to do? It didn't work for me. Then I went to the Tony Robbins one, and he has like this 14 to 20-minute process where he takes deep breaths in and out, in and out. And then he says, okay, where are you in the future? Where are you? And that one was closer. And so I started asking lots of different successful people. I'm like, do you visualize? What do you do? So after gathering everybody's information, I came up with 3 simple processes because I like to make things a process. The first one is I start with closing my eyes and I start with the self. And when I say self, I think of 4 things in this one thing for the self. I think, okay, where am I spiritually? Where am I physically? Where am I mentally? And where am I emotionally? And I realized over the years that the subconscious tells you as you close your eyes, you know, I mean, look, think about it. Think of these 4 things that I just told you: spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Which one stands out really quick for you? For me, I'm like, oh, physically, I need to work out harder. All right, if I need to work out harder, what does that look like 6 months from now? Where do I want to be? Okay, I want to create more muscle. I want to do this. All right, what do I need to do today? What do I need to do today to get there in 6 months? And that's the simple process I go through. So for self, spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, then I go to the next one. So it's self, family, business. Family, then I look at whatever that looks like for you. Family can be friends, it could be siblings, it could be spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. I go through that process and I say, okay, where am I with my wife, with my 2 kids? And I usually stop there because I'm already terrible. I'm like, okay, I need to spend more time with my wife. Okay, I got it. Oh, kids, yeah, that's right. They were asking me to play the other time. That's a priority, right? But I could go through that for like 20, 30 minutes through all 3 of them. So I usually just gravitate to the very first one that comes out that really stands out a lot. And I say, okay, let's just say it's my wife. For some reason, I'm saying it's my wife, right? In my head. Where do I want to be 6 months from now with my wife? Well, I probably want to spend more time with her. I want to feel closer to her, right? But what can I do today to do that? What can I do right now? And that's when you start asking the right questions, because the challenge is we always leave it for later, right? So you've got self, you've got family, and then you've got business. Now, business is the same way. You go through the process. You're like, well, where am I with my business? What does it look like with my database? How about the technology that I'm using? How about my day? Am I prospecting today? What does this look like? You start asking questions you already know the answers to, but you're not doing them. We all know what we need to do. This is just prompting you to do it sooner, because now you're asking, okay, if it's prospecting, where do I want to be 6 months from now? Okay, got it. I'm going to be there, but what do I need to do today? Because what I've realized in creating this over the last few years is that we can rewire our brains. We can make new connections in our brains because that's how our brain is. It's malleable. It changes. And as we rewire it, we become a better version of ourselves. That's the visualization part. I usually take about 5 minutes and I identify what's a challenge in my personal life and my business that I need to tackle right now. Now let me go to the last two. Exercise, same thing as before. This is not where I exercise fully. I usually exercise first thing in the morning. This is the minute where I go down. For me, it's push-ups. I do 50 push-ups, I'm done. Sometimes I do a set of 2, not usually. Right? You could do jumping jacks, you could do something else, you could do anything. The point is to connect your mind and body as quickly as possible to release endorphins. And then lastly, learn, read, or listen to something. And sometimes I only have 3 minutes. So I have this book that I've been reading for about 3 years. I'll show it to you. Let me see here. Stop. All right. This one's called The Daily Stoic, and it's by Ryan Holiday. I don't know if you can see it. Sometimes my camera is a little blurry, but I'll type it in there. And what it is, they're just little quotes from Stoics. So like Marcus Aurelius, from people like that. And it just has a little excerpts and then an explanation. So that's really quick for me if I'm in a hurry. Like at least I know I got something in to get my mind right. And if not, that I have more time, then I actually read or I listen to a podcast, right? But the point is I'm learning, I'm growing, because now I'm setting the tone for my day. And sometimes we don't even have the time to do that. All right, and then lastly, here I'll go through this really quick. That's Marvel. And then I have some quick questions. The most important question, I'll leave you with this, is the very last one, right here. You have the power to determine how your day is. You have the power to determine how you react to everything that happens to you, everything. And it's up to you asking yourself on a daily basis, sometimes 10 times a day, how do you want to feel today? How do you want to feel today? And I don't think we ever ask ourselves, do you wake up asking yourself, how do you want to feel today? I did today. How do I want to feel today? Today, I want to feel thankful. I want to feel grateful. So I'm asking you, how do you want to feel today? And that's all I got for you today. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Let's see what we got over here. Who do we need to unmute? Any questions? Any comments? Anybody have anything to tell me? It's now 5.
Good afternoon. Tatiana Lescano.
Tatiana, how are you?
Can you? I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I'd like to know the name of the book, please.
Oh, The Daily Stoic. Here, let me put it in.
Thank you very much, Tristan.
Thank you. Let me type it in. There we go.
This is Sergio.
Sergio, what's up, dude?
Hi, Tristan. What's up? Just saying thank you. I'm very grateful. I was listening a YouTube video of you about LinkedIn. It was strange because a colleague of mine sent me a link for this Zoom meeting. Today changed. I was not in a very good place about business, and listening to you was very, very clear, and thank you for that.
Thanks, Sergio. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you, man. And I watched you paying attention, by the way, on my screen. So I was watching you too. So I got you. Thanks for being here. Afonso, you got anything else for me, buddy?
Well, I was just waiting if somebody else had any additional questions. I would dare to say, well, it's something about it's always about choice. It's about choice to know yourself, be aware of yourself, about the others, and choose and recall yourself every day. That what you have to do every day to put that in place. Because I know you like one of your I think favorite quotes is from Bruce Lee, something like that. Willing is not enough. You have to do after that, and that's that was great. And on Marvel, you mentioned comics. Well, that's a coincidence because we look like comics every day now because we look at each other in little frames. So
yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And look, just so you know, this process I created, even I don't do it every day because sometimes life happens, right? But the thing is, I do go back to it. I go back to it. If I missed a day, if I missed 2 days, I know what I need to do the next day. So don't ever beat yourself up if you're not going through a process. Just know that it's there for you to go back to when you're ready. So that's all I got. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I can't wait to go to Portugal when everything's kind of back to normal. So I will see you all
Can
there.
I make just a little question? Just a little
yes, Soraya?
Soraya, yes. I have troubles visualizing unless I'm writing what I'm thinking.
Oh, good.
And you divided, I believe, in the self, the family, and the business was these 3 parts because I thought there 3 parts. Okay, that's
3,
helpful.
and then each one has parts too. So that's a really good way if you want to write it out. Sometimes I write it out too. So if I'm on self, I put, okay, how am I doing spiritually, right? How am I doing physically? How am I doing emotionally? And how am I doing mentally? And then I just sit there and I know that I'm not, I mean, we all want to do better in everything, right? But which one is gravitating towards the top? And for me lately, I can tell you, for me lately, it's been physically, because I know I'm not pushing myself hard enough, me physically, personally, right? So it keeps on going to the top. I was like, okay, damn it, let's work on it more. What are the things I'm going to do now, today, to get better? And the same thing with family, it's spouse, siblings, children, or parents, or a boyfriend, girlfriend, best friends, whatever family looks like to you. Okay. And then business can be lots of different things. My 3 main businesses for me is what comes to mind, right? For me, it's Tristan and Associates for real estate. I go through that in my head. Next is Lab Coat Agents. And I say, okay, where do I need to be with lab coats? And then third is A Brilliant Tribe. And that's my consulting arm. And I go, where do we need to be there? Right. So that's typically what I do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great question, Soraya.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Pedro, you got your hand up. No?
Hello, Tristan. First of all, thank you for this wonderful conversation with you. Hearing you, it was great. I have a question for you because I was reading about the process and how much time it takes for us to get used to the process, because sometimes people give up because proper process takes a little bit of your time every day. And so people give up because this is a slow process. How much time do you believe it takes to someone to get used to this? And also, usually you see people giving up in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 1 month. I don't know if you understand this question.
Yep, good. It takes about 45 days to really start seeing massive change from what we've seen. But you can see, Pedro, if you do the evening and the day just for a week, you're going to be like, oh crap, this is a lot, right? And I don't think people understand how deep this is until they start answering the questions. Like when I had my wife do this 2 years ago, she hated the question which was I'll bring up the question that she hated because I hate it too. Here, let me go and share it with you. And she was like 5 days in. This is on the prepare one, okay? Prepare. Right there. Were any of my actions guided by any strong emotions, hate, anger, that one. She said this. She said, it makes me feel like I'm not good enough. I'm like, that's interesting, right? I go, this whole process that I'm doing is just making you aware, right? Of course, it's making you aware of the things that you're not doing great, that you lack, right? But that one specific one was really highlighting something for her. And it did it for me too. That's how I realized I was envious, right? And that is a challenge for me. But I think it goes through like, oh crap, I hate this. This is too hard, to, okay, I understand. I understand what I'm becoming. I understand who I am. And I don't think a lot of us understand who we truly are because we don't take the time to look in, right? And so 45 days, Pedro, this will change your business. Because it'll change your mind. It'll change who you are, because we're living a life of reaction, most of us, which is like, oh, day to day, done, right? And now on to the next day. And it's the same day again. So 45 days, you live a more purposeful life. But some people drop off after a week or two, right? But Pedro, don't think that you have to do this every day. Like even me, like I probably do this morning and day, probably only 4 days out of the whole week, right? That's realistic.
Thank you, Tristan.
But at the beginning, try to do it every day, just to get into the habit. I hope I answered the question, Pedro. Yeah.
Yes, it was clarifying. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Pedro. Rita.
Hello again.
Hey.
I've started to do meditation last week. It's amazing, and you say that you love it, and because I've started with being with a coach, okay. And she's amazing, and she have taught me something about meditation that I really didn't believe. True, because I was every time on a rush, always running for that. I didn't. I went to try a yoga class, mm-hmm. And then when I could even close my eyes for a long time because
too many thoughts.
Yeah, it's true. And I thought, no, I must leave because I have to do this and this and this. It's true. And then I wake up and I can't. It's impossible. Then I was ill also as you. It's because our body must be okay, and that's the balance that we must have in our lives. And it's true, meditation, it's really amazing. It makes us to stop. And she tells me, Rita, put your hand in your heart when you are breathing.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's a good one too.
And then you feel your heart, and your thoughts will be happy.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You have a close. You'll not be smiling because you are alive.
Yeah,
you're alive. Yeah. You are, and it's you must try. You put your hand on your heart.
It's a good point. You focus because your mind focuses on the heartbeat, right?
Yes.
And,
yeah. I love it.
It takes your mind off of everything else. That's a really good
stop.
Point.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay. Oh, Tristan, thanks so much. You were amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. And we'll be waiting for you here. Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've already picked out the beach that I'm going to. So just.
Good. We have lots of beaches, lots of them. Very nice. Thanks so much. Bye bye.
And I'll see you guys at family reunion too. So.
Yeah. Okay.
That should be a fun session.
Thanks once again, Tristan. Thanks again, Tristan.
Afonso. I appreciate it.
Let's embrace the night, embrace every single day, and do things right now, as I think Tristan so. And I think we'll double our business in 45 days.
Yeah, because it starts in your mind. That's
it. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Afonso. Bye, Soraya, Pedro, Rita, Sergio, everybody else. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Tristan. Thank you.
Tristan.
Thank you, Tristan.